Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and I'm going to talk about the difference between the Impulse and the Griffin Vanes. Now, I've shot both indoor this morning, and I shot 270 points out of 300 for an indoor round with the Griffin Vanes. Now, I would say that my bad shots were worse with the Griffin Vanes, and I felt like my shooting was significantly worse with my Griffin Vanes. So normally I kind of shoot between a mid 270 to a mid 280. So my shooting was down a little bit, and I didn't find I had the tight groups with the Griffin Vanes that I'm used to with my normal arrows I shoot. So normally I shoot the Impulse Vanes with VAPs. These are the Brixxons with 120 grain points, and yes, they're not quite tuned for the bow, but that was 270 points. So then I shot the Impulse Vanes with the same shafts, same points, and I shot them. Now, I thought I grouped quite well with these arrows, so I thought the grips were quite good, and I kind of moved them around the table, but I felt like around the target, and they just felt like they were grouping tighter. Out of 300 points, I scored 270. So exactly the same points with those as those. I would say they felt about the same. Now, what I did notice was the speed difference between the Brixxon and the VAPs. So they're both 600 spine, and I thought I had the same point weight in both shafts. So then I looked up the spine weight of both arrows. So the Brixxons weigh 7 grains per inch. Now the VAPs at 600s are 5.5, so I've got about an extra 30 grains in the Brixxon versus the VAP, which would be slowing the arrows down. They just feel significantly slower coming out the bow than the VAPs, and obviously they are heavier. Now, with the speed coming out the bow was quieter. However, I didn't feel like I was getting the consistency that I was with the VAP as far as coming off the fingers being nice and crisp. As I said, the bow's quieter and probably feels nicer to shoot. However, I don't feel I'm getting that speed that I feel like I'm getting with the VAPs. So with that, I looked at other arrows. So I looked at the Paragons, and they are lighter. They're about a 6 grain arrow. These are 7. So the Paragons are a little bit heavier than the VAPs. And that raises the whole question, are you better to go for a lighter shaft with a heavier point? Because theoretically, the heavier point will give you more stability. It's theory. But I mean, just score 270 and then 270. Sorry, 270 and then 270. That was pretty consistent overall. Now, at the halfway mark in the round, my scores were about the same, 135 and 135. So I shot pretty consistent all the way through. Some ends were better and some ends were worse in the getting to 270 overall. So that kind of leaves me at the point where I think I need to jump up to a 500 grains shaft and see how my scores go with those. And I'm almost wondering about putting a heavier point in and trying that. So that's kind of where I'm at now. But I feel like I'm shooting okay. I feel like that round should have been better, and I almost feel like shooting another round with my normal 600 VAPs and seeing how they score, because I feel like the round was better than the 270. I feel like I'm shooting better than that. So that's the difference. And I was expecting, so these were lower in the target. Now that wasn't the case when I did the review. So I'm shooting slightly further now than I did with the review. It's only a meter. But these were definitely lower in the target than these. So this was shooting a 10. This was shooting a 9 low. So I had to adjust my sights. And I also had to move my sights slightly to the right with these arrows versus these arrows. So I assume that's something to do with the spine a little bit, but that was a minor change. Like, it was a 9 versus a 10, and it was just slightly across to the gold, but it was, a minor change. Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. Bye.